Welcome to the Fem2PC YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to install FreeBSD 13.5 with a 4-drive disk array, or RAID. FreeBSD is a complete Unix-like operating system. With the release of version 14 branch, 13 is now considered legacy. Version 13.5 is the latest point version, released on March 11, 2025. The previous 13.4 point release will become end of life on June 30th, 2025. It is just my opinion, as of April 2025, that I suspect 13.5 will be the final point version for the version 13 branch. Version 15.0 is scheduled for release at the end of 2025. At that time, the version 14 branch will go from production to legacy. Preparing the boot media is beyond the scope of this video, but I am using the Yumi. And in Yumi, I have my FreeBSD folder, and I'm going to install FreeBSD 13.5, and I'm booting in normal mode. So I'm booting from the USB. And I'm going to run install. And I'm going to keep the default key map. I'll enter my host name. It will be FBSD 135.local. I do not need kernel debugging. I do not need 32-bit compatibility libraries. But I'm going to install source. I'm going to use the AutoZFS. I have 4 SATA disk. So I'm going to go down to the pool type. And I'm going to select RAID Z1, single redundant RAID. And then I'm going to use the space bar and arrow to select my 4 SATA disk. ADA0, ADA1, ADA2, and ADA3. Now the DA0 is the USB boot drive. Okay, I'm going to keep the pool name as zroot. I'm not going to encrypt. I'm going to use GPT. I'm going to increase my swap size to 8 gig. I am going to mirror the swap, but I am not going to encrypt. And no compression. So that's it. We'll come back up and proceed with the installation. Final warning. Are you sure? Arrow over to yes. And we will destroy all the contents on ADA 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, at this point, our base, kernel, and source are being checked before being extracted. And then here we are doing the extraction. The base includes all of the user land, everything for the FreeBSD OS except for the kernel. And here's the kernel being extracted. And then the source tree is being extracted. Now we need to enter the password for the root. And again, this is our Ethernet interface. It's a gigabit Ethernet. It's actually an onboard type. We would definitely like to use IPv4, and we're going to use manual, not DHCP. So we'll manually enter the IP address. In my case, I'm on the private network, 192.168.1, and I'm using the IP address 252, the subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and my default router 192.168.1.254. I do not need IPv6. Okay, now for our DNS, we'll just arrow down one space and I'll enter the 8.8.8.8 as my default DNS server. And I'll add a secondary 1.1.1.1 and I'm okay. Now my CMOS clock is not set to UTC, so I'm going to enter no and then continue from here. This is the time zone setting. So I'll choose your region. And I'm choosing America. And I'm going to zip down to the United States. And you can choose from different Eastern, Central, Mountain, Pacific. I'm going to choose Eastern, most areas. Daylight saving time is reasonable, yes. And we can skip. Okay, here's our system config. We definitely want to have SSHD. We're going to select the mouse, NTP date, and NTP daemon, the power D, and deselect the dump dev. I'm also going to go up and select the local unbound. This will help in our DNS catching. Last is system hardening. I randomly just make sure to clear the temp. I don't need a syslog server, and I'm going to disable sendmail. This is not a sendmail server. And I'll disable dtrace. And that's it for system hardening. Now I need to add initial user. So I'm going to add the user, Steve. I am Steve. Pleased to meet you. I'm going to leave the empty for the default. I need to add myself to two groups, the wheel group and the operator. And these are basically using the default settings until we get to the password. I'm not going to use an empty password. So I'll enter the password for my user Steve, and again. So my account has been created. And I don't need to add an extra user. And basically, we have now installed FreeBSD. So we'll exit. And we don't need to do any modifications. So enter on no. Oh, okay. I am going to make some modifications. I'm going to edit the etc. rc config file. I'm going to go down to the mouse daemon enable and delete, 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 and put no. And escape and leave the editor, enter, and save. Exit. Now I will reboot. I'm going to count down here my 9 seconds. This is our first boot. You can see here all of our disks have been ADA0, 1, 2, 3. Our DA0 because the USB flash drive is still inserted into the computer. We're getting our date set from network time. Generated our initial keys for SSH. I'm going to log in with root. Enter the root password. Let's check our networking. Well, first we'll check our uname. 13.5 release. We can check networking by running the ping command. This will verify both our DNS and our network. Use Control-C to exit. And that's basically it. We have a running system. And now we'll check our pool with a zpool status. And we can see we have our 4 SATA disks online. So let's go ahead and shut down. We'll use the shutdown command. It's shutdown -P, P for power, and now is the time to shut down. And there we are. FreeBSD 13.5 on RAID.